Rain hammered the empty highway. The clock on Ethan's cracked phone read 2:47 a.m., the hour when the world forgets you exist. His car had died 20 minutes ago, battery gone, phone signal dead, and no lights in either direction. He stood under the flickering street lamp, soaked to the bone, staring down the road. That's when he saw it. A bus. Its headlights cut through the fog, silent at first, then rumbling closer, brakes hissing like a beast breathing. No route number. No name. Just a faded sign glowing faintly, last stop. He waved his arms, desperate. The doors creaked open with a long, mechanical groan. Inside, dim yellow lights flickered, and a cold gust of air spilled out. Thank God, Ethan muttered, stepping in. The driver didn't look at him. Old. Gray skin. Sunken eyes. Just raised a finger toward the back of the bus. Ethan hesitated. Do you go to Ridgeway? No answer. Just a slow nod. He shrugged, dropped a few crumpled bills in the box, and walked down the aisle. The seats were old, cracked, smelling faintly of mildew. He took one near the back, wiped the condensation off the window, and tried to calm down. Only a few passengers sat scattered around, too still, too quiet. A man in a trench coat. A woman clutching a purse. A kid in a school uniform, staring blankly ahead. None of them moved. None of them even blinked. The bus lurched forward. Outside, the fog swallowed everything. No towns. No signs. Just endless black road. Ethan pulled out his dead phone, hoping maybe the battery had revived. Still nothing. He leaned back, sighing. Okay, just, get to Ridgeway, call for help. That's it. But as the minutes stretched, something began to bother him. Every few seconds, the driver glanced in the rearview mirror. Not at the road. At him. An hour passed, or maybe more. It was impossible to tell. The bus didn't stop once. Ethan tried to ask again, walking up the aisle. But as he passed the woman with the purse, he froze. Her eyes were open. Wide. Unblinking. And her mouth, stitched shut. He stumbled back. Jesus. The man in the trench coat turned his head slowly. His face was gray, his eyes hollow sockets. Dried blood ran from his nose to his chin. Ethan's breath hitched. He spun toward the driver. Hey! What the hell is this? The driver's voice came out low, rasping. Sit down. No, stop the bus. The driver's pale eyes met his in the mirror. There's no stopping. Not yet. Ethan looked down the aisle. Every passenger was now staring at him. Their necks twisted, bones cracking in unison. He backed away, heart pounding, slamming into his seat. The bus roared faster. The lights flickered. Through the window, Ethan realized they weren't on a highway anymore. They were driving through a tunnel, black, endless, with walls that seemed to move. Something crawled across the window outside, a hand. Then another. Dozens. Gripping the glass, pressing faces against it, whispering in a language he couldn't understand. He turned toward the driver. What is this place? The driver didn't answer. His hands tightened around the wheel. The bus jerked violently left and right, tires screeching, yet it never slowed. The intercom crackled to life. A distorted voice echoed through the speakers. Next stop, your street. Ethan froze. He hadn't told anyone where he lived. How do you? The voice interrupted, louder this time. Next stop, home. The bus doors slammed shut with a metallic clang. All the lights went out. Darkness. Total. Then, faintly, a glow appeared near the front, the reflection of something standing in the aisle. Tall. Thin. moving toward him. Ethan fumbled for his bag, his hands trembling. He could hear footsteps, slow, deliberate, one seat closer, then another. He backed away until he hit the rear window. The shape stopped just inches away. A whisper slid into his ear. "We're almost there." The lights flickered back on. The figure was gone. The passengers sat motionless again. Ethan jumped to his feet, rushing to the front. "Stop this bus." The driver looked at him for the first time, really looked. His eyes were pale white, veins black and pulsing. He smiled faintly. "We can't stop, Ethan. You bought a ticket." Ethan froze. "How do you know my name?" The driver didn't answer. He just pointed to the dashboard, where a cracked rearview mirror hung by a wire. Ethan looked into it. And saw his reflection sitting in the back seat. Smiling. He turned around, his seat was empty. The bus slowed. Outside, fog parted just enough to reveal a familiar street sign. Ethan's heart dropped. It was his street. The driver's voice came through the static again. "End of the line." The brakes hissed. The doors opened with a low groan. Outside, his house waited, lights off, curtains drawn. He hesitated. Every nerve screamed, "Don't step off." But something pulled him forward, one step at a time. The air outside was dead quiet. No wind. No crickets. He turned to look back at the bus. Every passenger was now standing in the aisle. All of them facing him. "Don't follow me," he whispered. The driver leaned out of the window, smiling. "Welcome home." The doors slammed shut. The bus pulled away into the fog, vanishing without a sound. Ethan turned toward his house. The door was open. And from inside, he heard the same voice whisper. "Next stop." The rain had stopped. Only silence remained, heavy, suffocating, and wrong. Ethan stood in the doorway of his house, staring into the dark hallway. He didn't remember leaving the lights off. Didn't remember leaving the door open either. He called out softly, "Hello." No answer. But something inside the house shifted, faint footsteps moving away, deeper into the dark. He swallowed hard. "Who's there?" Still nothing. He stepped inside, the floor creaking beneath his soaked shoes. Every sound echoed, too loud, too long, like the walls were mimicking him. The air smelled of dust and something faintly metallic. He closed the door behind him, locking it out of instinct. The house was freezing, colder than the rain outside. That's when he noticed the carpet, wet, muddy footprints leading down the hallway. His stomach turned. They weren't his. He followed them slowly. The footprints led straight to the living room. When he flicked the light switch, nothing. Only the faint orange glow from the streetlight seeped through the blinds. The TV was on, playing static. A low hum filled the room. And there, on the couch, was a shadow. Human-shaped. Still. "Hello." Ethan whispered. The shape didn't move. He took a cautious step closer, then another. The static flickered. For a split second, the TV showed something else, not a channel, not a face. A bus interior. Rows of empty seats. Lights flickering. Then the screen went black. The couch was empty. Ethan's breathing quickened. He stepped back, bumping into the coffee table. That's when he saw something resting there, a bus ticket. Old. Faded. Stamped with the same words he'd seen earlier. Last stop. His name was printed on it. Ethan Hale, seat 14B. He stared at it, trembling. No, this isn't real. The house creaked. The sound of movement again, upstairs this time. Slow, dragging footsteps. He looked toward the staircase. Something was coming down. Step by step, the darkness swallowed the shape until it reached the bottom landing. A man. Tall. Thin. Wearing the same clothes as Ethan. But his face. His face was pale, eyes sunken, mouth split into a crooked smile. Ethan's voice broke. "What are you?" The figure tilted its head. "You came back." Its voice was his. The same tone. The same breath. Every word in perfect mimicry. "I didn't," Ethan stammered, backing away. "I got off that bus. I left." The doppelganger's smile widened. "Nobody leaves." Then, in one smooth motion, it reached into its coat pocket and pulled something out, a bus ticket. Identical to the one on the table. He held it up to Ethan's face. "Your return ticket," it whispered. "You forgot to use it." Ethan bolted for the door, but when he pulled the handle, it wouldn't budge. The lock turned, but the wood stayed solid, unmoving. Behind him, the static from the TV grew louder. The screen flickered again, the bus interior, this time with passengers. All staring forward. All still. One seat empty. Seat 14B. Ethan turned around. The double was gone. He spun wildly, scanning the room. "Where are you?" The answer came from behind him, from the TV. His own reflection stared back through the static. It spoke with his voice, but the sound came from inside the screen. "You were supposed to stay." Then, hands, dozens of pale hands, pressed against the inside of the screen, distorting the glass. He screamed, grabbed the nearest chair, and smashed the TV. The glass shattered, sparks flying. For a moment, silence. Then, a voice behind him. "You missed your stop." The house lights flickered violently. Every bulb burst, plunging the room into darkness. Only the faint glow from outside filtered through the blinds. A low rumble filled the air, familiar, mechanical. Like an engine. Like a bus engine. Ethan turned toward the window. Through the rain-streaked glass, headlights shone. Bright. Blinding. The bus was parked outside. Waiting. Its door open. He shook his head, backing away. "No. No, I'm not going back." But the door to the house creaked open on its own. Cold air swept in, carrying a faint whisper. Next stop. He could see movement inside the bus, silhouettes in the windows, faces pressed to the glass. All of them watching him. The driver sat motionless, pale hands on the wheel. And in the passenger seat, where no one had sat before, his double. Smiling. Waving. Ethan grabbed his bag and ran upstairs. Maybe there was another way out. He reached the second floor, slamming the bedroom door behind him. He pressed his back against it, chest heaving. The bus engine roared louder outside, echoing through the walls. He turned toward the mirror on the wall, and froze. His reflection was gone. The glass shimmered, showing not the room behind him but the interior of the bus. Empty. Silent. Waiting. Then, slowly, his reflection appeared, sitting in seat 14B. Staring straight ahead. Smiling faintly. Ethan shook his head violently. "You're not real. You're not me." The reflection's lips moved, but the voice came from behind him. "Yes, I am." He spun. And there he was. His double, inches away, eyes black and hollow. It leaned close, whispering. "You got off the bus, but the bus never got off you." Ethan screamed, lunging for the door, but the double's hands shot forward, grabbing his face. The room filled with light, headlights. The roar of the bus engine filled his ears. Then everything went white. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was sitting in a bus seat. Heart pounding. Hands trembling. He looked around. Same bus. Same flickering lights. Same lifeless passengers staring forward. He looked down. Seat 14B. His seat. The intercom crackled. Next stop, your street. He turned to the window, whispering, "No." And there it was again, his house, standing quietly in the fog. The driver glanced at him in the mirror, smiling faintly. "Almost home," he said. The bus moved in silence. No engine hum. No sound of rain. Only the faint whisper of the wheels rolling over endless black road. Ethan sat frozen in seat 14B. His body was trembling, but his reflection in the glass was perfectly still, almost peaceful. He tried to speak, but no sound came out. His voice was gone. The driver's eyes met his in the mirror again, pale and glowing faintly. "Don't fight it," the driver murmured. "You're almost where you belong." Ethan gripped the seat tightly. "I don't belong here," he tried to shout, but his voice came as a whisper, barely audible even to himself. "Let me off this bus." The driver said nothing. Outside the window, the scenery changed. At first, it was fog and darkness. Then, flashes. His old school. His first apartment. Faces of people he hadn't seen in years. Flickering like a film reel, passing too fast to understand. He realized what he was seeing. His life. Every memory, every moment, projected on the windows like ghosts of the past. And then, the scene stopped. The windows went black. A reflection appeared again. But this time, it wasn't him. It was the same double, pale, lifeless, smiling. The intercom hissed. Next stop. Last stop. Ethan's heart slammed in his chest. He looked around the bus, the passengers were stirring now, heads turning slowly toward him. Their dead eyes blinked for the first time. They began to whisper. Overlapping voices, layered like static. "Stay with us, stay with us." He bolted to his feet. "Stop this bus." The driver didn't move. His hands were fused to the wheel, the skin melted into the plastic, veins crawling like roots across the dashboard. Ethan stumbled backward, horrified. He turned down the aisle, desperate for an exit. The rear door was gone. So were the emergency windows. There was no way out. The whispers grew louder. He turned, and froze. The passengers were standing now. Every one of them. Bodies twitching, faces decaying, skin cracking like old paint. Their mouths opened in unison, wide, too wide, releasing a single, inhuman sound. A long, mechanical hiss. Ethan dropped to his knees, covering his ears. The floor vibrated beneath him. Through the noise, he heard something else, a low, rhythmic beat. The heartbeat of the bus. The lights flickered violently, and for the first time, Ethan saw the truth. The bus wasn't made of metal at all. The walls pulsed like flesh. Veins ran along the ceiling. And from between the seats, something was moving, black tendrils slithering across the floor toward him. He scrambled up, running to the front. The driver's head turned completely backward, bones snapping. "End of the line," he rasped. The bus lurched, throwing Ethan against the windshield. Outside, the fog cleared, revealing a massive tunnel with no light at the end. Its walls were made of faces, screaming silently. The bus dove straight in. Ethan slammed his fists against the window. "Let me out." The driver's voice came from everywhere now, the speakers, the engine, the air itself. "You bought a ticket. You have to ride it to the end." He felt a vibration in his chest, something under his skin. He looked down. The bus ticket in his pocket was glowing. Burning through the fabric, searing into his thigh. He screamed, pulling it out, but it had already fused to his hand. The letters twisted, changing before his eyes. No longer said Ethan Hale. It now read, "Driver." The bus began to slow. Outside the windshield, a dim red light appeared ahead, flickering like a heartbeat. The passengers moved toward the front, forming a line. One by one, they stepped off into the darkness through the opening doors. Each vanished the moment they crossed the threshold. Ethan tried to move, but his legs felt heavy, like roots were wrapping around them. The bus seemed to breathe beneath him. Each exhale made the seats groan, each inhale made the lights dim. He looked at the driver, and realized the man was dissolving. His skin melted away, leaving only a uniform, a cap, and the seat. The voice spoke again. Soft. Calm. "You've reached the end. Take your place." Ethan shook his head. No, I'm not you." He stumbled forward, reaching for the controls, the wheel, the brake, anything. But when he touched the wheel, his skin sank into it. Fused. The uniform reformed around his body. The cap fell into his lap. And in the cracked mirror above the dashboard, his reflection changed. Pale. Sunken eyes. The new driver of the midnight bus. Outside, the tunnel began to fade. The scenery shifted, back to a rainy highway. A familiar sight. Another stranded traveler stood under a flickering street lamp, waving desperately for help. The headlights cut through the fog. The bus slowed. Ethan, or whatever was left of him, pressed the brake automatically. The door opened with a slow, mechanical hiss. Rain poured in. The man outside stepped forward. "Thank God," he said. "Do you go to Ridgeway?" Ethan didn't answer. He just raised a hand, the same way the driver had done to him, and pointed toward the back. The man nodded and stepped inside. The doors closed. The bus engine growled. And as the vehicle rolled into the fog once more, the intercom crackled. Next stop, home. Hours later, the highway was empty again. Just the faint echo of an engine far off in the mist. A police cruiser passed by, lights flashing briefly. The officer inside slowed when he saw the flickering street lamp. Something on the ground caught his eye, a small, crumpled piece of paper. He stepped out, picked it up, and unfolded it. A bus ticket. Faded, wet, and nearly illegible. But two words still glowed faintly through the smudges. Last stop.